The Fate of Izawa Shizue by Bisel13. Johan-kun, I'm really grateful to meet you. If fate allows it, I would love to meet you again sometime. The same goes for me, Grace-san. When the times come, let's meet again. Both Grace-san and I are shaking hands with full smiles. Meanwhile, Eric-san seems hesitant to say the same. Probably he thinking about the possibility of him being slain in the battle. His head is down, looking at my and Grace-san's hand. I can feel he wanted to shake my hands too, but he can't say anything. Lift your head up, be a proud warrior. Hinata interjects out of nowhere. Her face is serious, the tone was dominating. Even Grace-san looks surprised. It's no wonder. Hinata doesn't sound like any lovely lady, she sounded like a respected commander. But Eric-san was surprised more than Grace-san. His body was jolted for a bit, he lifted his head up and straightly looked at Hinata. Then, Hinata raises her hand, asking him to shake hands with her. They shook their hand, while Hinata pat Eric-san's shoulder. Do your best. That small sentence was the only goodbye from her to Eric-san. But that sentence is the one he needed. Yes, I'll fight with pride. Hinata nodded at him. Then, Eric-san came to me. Johan-san, I may not gonna be able to meet with you again, but I want you to know that I am grateful to meet you. I shake his hand, and I tighten the grip. I just knew him a few hours ago, but I feel sad imagining he's not going to survive in battle. I hope he's gonna through it, without having to lose his life. But being worried about him might be an insult to his resolve. Even Grace-san manages to accept Eric-san's decision. What right do I have to reject his resolve? Do your best, Eric-san. I may not know about knight ethics, but you have to fight to protect the other. Yes. For the people of Castland Kingdom, and for His Highness Prince Constance. Our handshake got tightened more, as we pour our strength into it. But maybe, I put my strength a bit too much because Eric-san started to wince. Oops, I still need to adjust my strength in this world. Meanwhile, Hinata and Grace-san also shake hands. Iza-san, you and your brother are a very nice person. I wish people like you didn't go wasted in a war. This world needs a good young people like you. Hinata smiled at him. She gently shakes her hand with Grace-san. I thought she was not gonna say anything, but it turns out she continues. I too wished a wise person like you still exist to guide the young people. Grace-san lashed out a big smile at her. Seems like he's very happy receiving those words from Hinata. We bid our farewell to them. They walked outside the tavern, while still taking a peek at us. The tavern had already been pretty quiet. There are still people around, but not too many. The waitress also started to clean up the empty tables. I and Hinata are looking at each other. We should go now as well, Rimuru. Yes, let's find a place to teleport. Hinata nodded. Then we stand up and started packing things up. But as we picked out provisions, I suddenly remembered about Grace-san had told us. I looked at Hinata who already picked up the tent and the pouch of money. I understand, we don't need it anyway. Let's return it to them. It doesn't mean we're picking their side anyway. You're right, thanks. I'll return it quietly. All right. I'll wait outside the barracks. And with that, both of us agreed to return the provision we'd received from the knights. Because we actually don't need it. On the other hand, their side really in lack of supplies. Judging from Grace-san's story, I assume what they give is already very lot for them. I don't like the idea of taking from those who need it. We both walked to the barracks. The street is already pretty much quiet. Only 1 or 2 people walked around. And there are some homeless in the alley. Some guards also take patrol. After reaching the barracks, I perform my form hide art. It will enable me to be undetected by the knights. I enter the barracks. Many of the knights are resting, and those who wake up are the ones who have been tasked as guards. Of course, no one is noticing me, so I was freely walking around. I remember where the warehouse is, so I'm going straight there. I open the warehouse. Yar yar, I murmur after seeing their supplies. There are still foods available, but not much. At best, it would only feed 100 people. Even with if I returned the dried meats I'd received, it still wouldn't be much. But, what would happen if I made more food for them? Although it's not significant, it will help boost the morale of Prince Constance's army in this area. By this act, Master has meddled in the conflict. I suggest doing nothing about it. Yeah, CL's right. Even so, my humanity side can't accept it easily. But I understand. I shouldn't take any side for now. So even with an unwilling heart, I can only return the dried meat and water I've received before. As I came out from the warehouse, I passed by Captain Allen's room. I thought he was already asleep, but my universal sense noticed him still awake inside the room accompanied by Leroy-san. I stopped for a while. I hear them talking. So, the evacuation of people in the north is almost finished, huh? This is Captain Allen's voice. He sounds very exhausted. Thankfully yes. But they are still pretty far away from here. At best, the refugees will come in 3 days. That's if nothing wrong gonna happen. What can you expect with a rushed evacuation? I know, objectively speaking, it's impossible for everything gonna be fine. Give me your worst situation, Leroy. The refugees will arrive in more than a week, burdening the soldiers on the front line. And with the supply line being crowded by refugees, the vanguard wouldn't be able to stand against the enemy. With that scenario, our loss is almost certain. But we can still hold the line in this city, right? If the enemy lay a siege on this city in that scenario, I'm afraid we wouldn't be able to hold on more than 2 weeks. Let me guess, because of the supplies? Yes, as you already notice, our supplies were scarce. We were barely able to feed the night brigade at this point. Even though luck has been given to us by Pulfric Dono's generosity by giving all his food stock, the amount wouldn't even be sufficient to keep our night full for a month. Is Grey Sand being mentioned? Now this becoming more intriguing? So, even the Pulfric company already donated their wealth for us. Yet we still, Leroy, tell me, how many merchant companies had already donated their wealth to us? With Pulfric company included, there are already 9 companies. 9 companies, yet here we are, Captain, for today, it's best to get some rest first. We've been through many things in the past few days. You've to rest for now, let's continue for tomorrow morning. Can't do that, Leroy. It's all my fault we've been lost for days. I have to make it up as soon as possible, I mean look at these papers. I have to prepare a lot for upcoming battles and accepting refugees. I can see Leroy-san showing an exasperated smile. Then, let me help you, Captain. Thanks a lot. By the way, do we still have some alcohol? I would like to take some if we have one. I hear a short pause. Yes, I think there's still some ale in the warehouse. Oh, then, I'll bring it here for us. Let's work with some drinks. Wait, let me bring it out for you. You sure? I'll take your offer then, thanks. Sure thing, Captain. Then the door is open. I saw Leroy-san in a casual tunic but still has his swords in his waist. He came out of the room, looking to the right and left. Then he walks the opposite way from the warehouse. I think I heard him saying he will go to the warehouse. Out of curiosity, I followed him after activating my Argos in Captain Allen's room. Captain Allen is starting to work on papers, while I still following Leroy-san. Leroy-san came into one of the rooms in the hallway. I didn't come inside, but I can notice that it was his private room. He bends his body near the bed and takes out a box under it. There, I saw some bottles of alcohol. I notice half of them are already empty, and Leroy-san takes out one which still contains alcohol in it. Leroy-san let out a smile after finding it. Then he put the wooden box back under his bed and came back to Captain Allen's office. I see, Leroy-san is lying about there's still a stock of ale in the warehouse. And so, he takes out alcohol from his private stock. What a wholesome subordinate. I smiled looking at the scene. Both of them share an ale in a cup. Captain Allen stopped his paperwork for a while. Let's get your family safe, Leroy. My deepest gratitude, Captain. But, as a knight, saving people is our priority. But your family is also a people of this kingdom. If I failed to save my own colleague's family, I won't have a face to His Highness. Then if that's the case, I shouldn't have any face to you, Captain. The atmosphere suddenly becomes grim. Leroy stopped his drink, and his head is looking down. His face suddenly showed a deep regret. But Captain Allen gave him a warm smile. Are you still blaming yourself for Maria's death? No one else could be blamed for your wife's death other than me. I already said it, let it go. It's her resolve. As her proud husband, I have nothing but respect for my wife. She died as a proud knight. It's our job to continue her legacy. But I have tarnished it. You still regret what we have done to Johann Dono and Isadono. Absolutely, I can never forgive myself for that. But they already forgive us. I'm sure they're very good people. But it only makes it worse for me. I have done bad things to the good people. Sometimes, I questioned myself, am I really fit to become a knight? It seems Leroy-san become a bit drunk. I always saw a composed attitude from him, but right now, he's very emotional. But it's no wonder. From those talks alone, I can see there's a huge emotional pain inside Leroy-san. It seems Leroy-san had many disappointments to himself. But as Captain Allen said, Leroy-san should let it go. And somehow, I felt I can relate to the pain Leroy-san has. You're still here is proof that you are worked. Do you need me to say it all over again? I won't be here without your helps. Captain Allen's words might have some effect on Leroy-san, because Leroy-san didn't respond anything to him. Or perhaps, Leroy-san had been too drunk to talk. But it doesn't seem to be the case though. Because in the next moments, Leroy-san takes every paper on Captain Allen's desk. At least, this is all I can do to help. Then he moved the papers to another desk. Leroy-san take a seat, then started to work on it with great speed. I heard Captain Allen start to laugh. Ha ha ha. There you go. Oi, don't take all of it, let me do my job as well. No, can't do. Captain should have a good rest. Oi, you making me sounds like a child, Yano? Then as an exchange, trained the new recruits for tomorrow. They have been bombarding me with the question about where you have been. Ha ha ha. Oh, so that's why, you sly fox. Then, you're sure you can do this by yourself? As certain as the sun will rise tomorrow. Attaboy. Thanks a lot for your help. I'll go to bed then. Don't you regret your choice? I won't. Have a good night, Captain. Captain Allen patted Leroy-san's shoulder. He once again expressed his gratitude to Leroy-san, but Leroy-san already put all of his focus on paperwork. Noticing this, Captain Allen walked out of his office. He didn't want to disturb Leroy-san. I was standing still outside the office when Captain Allen closed the door. I thought a moment after Captain Allen came out of the office, he would immediately go to his room. But turns out, he's standing there, looking at the skies. Tonight, there's a full moon with many stars sparkling beautifully. I see. Captain Allen is pretty much a romanticist. He might be looking at it to see the beauty of the night sky. But then, Captain Allen says something to himself. May the mighty god Veldonava is in our favor. I didn't hear it wrong, am I? Veldonava? Our world creator, the Star King Dragon Veldonava? What the? How can this world know Veldonava? Veldonava has created many worlds. I cannot be certain about how many it is, but apparently, this world is one of the creations from Veldonava. So that's why. I'm baffled. But how are the people in this world know Veldonava? I didn't find any possible relation. Unlike the cardinal world I lived in, we have a lot of his creations who exist around us. As far as I know, many of the progenitors of the creatures that lived in my world were also live in the cardinal world. So it's common knowledge about Veldonava's existence in my world. But how about this world? There are no demons and angels. All the inhabitants are humans. It's still a premature conclusion, but it's possible there's some unknown creation of Veldonava who has ruled this world at some time. But I'll need more data about it, so I cannot give any certain conclusion. I'm sorry. No, it's actually a good hint. We never know how many creatures Veldonava has made. In other words, there is more unknown history about Veldonava's creation. There are still unknown truths about Veldonava. Even I didn't have any information about it. Don't worry, Seal. Even the oldest creature I know, the primordials, didn't mention anything beyond their creation. But, the fact that Captain Allen worshipping Veldonava, it's somehow very intriguing. I wonder if the rest of the people in this world also worshipped Veldonava. Understood, I'll gather any information related to that. Again, very deft of you, Seal. Oh, by the way, I just got remembered. The guy earlier in the tavern, who wore a black robe, looks like a clergy. Maybe he's someone in a religious organization, like a church. But I don't see any church around here. I'll investigate it further. I leave it to you, partner. And before I know it, Captain Allen already walking away from here, and this time, I didn't have any curiosity to follow him. I should return to Hinata now. And so, I walked outside while maintaining my formhide art, and found Hinata still waiting for me near the back of the barracks. Sorry, I took so much time. I sincerely apologize while steadily reducing my art. Don't worry, it's worth as well. What do you mean? Thanks to your magicules, I can hear those interesting words. You mean, about Veldonava? Hinata nodded, then she continued. I can't be sure as well, but I recalled Luminos-sama ever told me about her origin. There seems a creature called Divine Ancestor, who create the first human, elves, dwarfs, and vampires. I don't know much detail about it, but it seems it has a connection to this world. I see, I never heard of such a thing before. I was only ever heard that much, but because I didn't really think it would be useful, I never cared too much about it. But it seems it's a mistake. Well, you're not wrong, but if I were you, I would also think the same. I thought Veldonava creates the creatures directly, including humans. There's a possibility if Veldonava only creates the original beings like the 7 original angels. Then those original beings create a descendant who transforms into a different creature, creating a multi-diverse creature around the universe. There's also a possibility of a particular being who was born by coincidence like primordial demons. I see. This whole universe is still a mystery as well. We have a long way to figure out the whole truth in this universe. Heck, even we didn't know who's this Divine Ancestor is. But it's pretty much refreshing, isn't it, Rimuru? Huh? What do you mean by that? You're worried about meddling too much in this world. But if this world is also a creation of Veldonava, would you find there's a connection with our world right now? Whoa, I never thought of it that way. But I guess she's right. It became apparent that this world is somehow related to the cardinal world. Being created by the same existence, it sure made a spark of a bond. But still, you're right. If this world really is created by Veldonava, there's a sense of attachment between the two worlds. But it's still not a justification for meddling too much in this world. Also, a quarrel between humans is natural, isn't it? I agree with you. But now, even without Sensei's soul inhabiting this world, it would leave a bad taste in my mouth if I let this world collapse. Oi! The current war is only a civil war in one kingdom. And there are a dozen or even hundreds more kingdoms in this world. It won't change much. You know it better than me. That's why I agree with you. I only think if this world was somehow related to Luminos-sama's origin, I have a sense of duty to protect it. Well, I won't go as far as saying I don't care about this world. I just wouldn't be able to stop myself once I involved more and more in this world's system. That's right. You have changed, Rimuru. Become a king has made you realize there are priorities to be taken. Right, I nodded slowly. I mean, she's right. Once I have people who entrust their life to me, I become more focused on my people's safety. I still care about the development of civilization, but I won't do it if it's not beneficial to my country. I wonder if I became a selfish person. That's incorrect. Master is a responsible person. Master is always selfless. I unintentionally smiled after hearing CL's words. Don't worry, Master. Even if Master becomes a selfish person, I would stay by your side forever. No, that's not the point. By the way, Rimuru, I think it's time. Alright, she's right, it's already past midnight. The street was also looking very empty. It's very quiet that I can teleport it right away. Alright, let's go now. Master, the distance of the soul eye tracking is coming closer. I can't be sure what's going on, but it's probably best to be on alert. What do you mean by that? Is the person who possesses half of Shizue-san's soul coming here? That's right. Well, I guess that person is still far away, right? Currently, it's 95 kilometers away, but it's still coming closer. Oh, that's still pretty far, so nothing's changed. Let's go. Understood. But one thing to be reminded of, I can only teleport it straight to the soul is located. That means Master would appear in front of this unknown individual. Crap, I never thought about it. That means our secret will be uncovered. Oh dear, what should I do? Something wrong. I just remembered. I can only teleport straight into the soul is located. You know what I mean, right? Hinata nodded. Then she thinks for a while. After seconds, she speaks. Then we have no choice, except you wanted to wait until it comes to us. You're right, we're not in a rush anyway, but is this person coming to our position? Well, I knew it was moving closer toward us, from the north, right? Yes. Wait, are you thinking what I'm thinking? It seems so. Are you thinking this person is one of the refugees? Most possibly, yes. then it's certain it will come to us. You're right. Then we can take a break for a while. To be honest, I have a bad premonition about it. Why? Just a hunch. Well, it's pretty rare to have Hinata mentioning her instinct. She is usually more calculative and shrewd over everything. But it makes me somehow feel the same. Seal, can I scan the area with my universal sense for that wide area? I never tried it, but it's possible in theory. Then please try it. I wonder if it works in such a wide radius area. I'll try to use it temporarily, then I install Argos nearby the soul's coordinate. Oh. Good idea. But damn, I realize how important Sue's role was. No, I always realize the importance of Sue's division, but right now I just realize how inconvenient to always do everything by myself. Or perhaps, I was used to handing over jobs to my subordinates. But then, comes a report from Seal. I've managed to place an Argos to confirm the individual whom Master's searching for. It seems to be a male with high status. Judging from how many people surrounding him, it's possible that's Prince Constance we have been talking about. Wait, can you show the footage to me, Seal? Understood? Then footage came into my mind. I saw a long convoy of carriages on the road, but it looks like it's in dismay. People are running abandoning their luggage. The horses are in panic, and chaos is everywhere. Oh gosh, now our bad premonition seems to be true. I kept looking around and found that the convoy is very long. It might be around 7 kilometers. The number of people in the convoy is also staggering. Without CL's analysis, I thought it was around 20,000 people in carriages. It's a reckless convoy. I don't even see the guards are organized properly. They mostly stand in the middle, while the rear is only guarded by a few dozen armed people, mostly only man-at-arms. So that's what Captain Allen means by rushed evacuation. I don't know what the cause of this massive evacuation was, but I knew it doesn't go well. To make matters worse, I can see the rear of the convoy was being attacked. I saw many heavily equipped soldiers attacking from behind the convoy by horse. Some of them are killing people, but most of them look like they searched for someone. They destroy every carriage's wheel and search everything inside of it. But then, comes hundreds of people on foot. A black mantle covered their bodies and began to attack the people. Those people are being slashed by swords, crushed by hammers, and stabbed by knives. And those who survived were captured, either getting beaten or tortured. It was horrible. Then from the middle of the convoy, I saw a young man with a handsome face being guarded by multiple knights. But he looks like he wanted to run to the back of the convoy by himself. And of course, none of his bodyguards are letting him go. And to add more concern, somehow I am convinced that person is Prince Constance. Moreover, I saw particles of a bright soul inside him. That's it. I found Shizue-san's soul, although it's only half of it. Seal, please share this footage with Hinata, understood? Hinata. What is Then I shared the sight of the footage with her. She looks horrified at the sight she saw. Then, I activate my thought acceleration to Hinata. Hinata, you see the prince there? Yes, turns out you're right, he has Shizue-san's soul. Then we have no choice. Let's save him, are you prepared? That question is for you. She's right. As I watched the scene, I thought a lot about the consequences. If the rumors are right, then as soon as I sprung into action, I'll be picking a fight with more than just one kingdom. And with no magic around, the entire world might be in an uproar upon our existence. But I can't stand seeing this too. Hinata might have been thinking about it as well, but she still decides to go. The shrewd person I know has chosen to be reckless. Well, then I too have no choice. For now, let's deal with what we saw. Let's think about another thing for later. And so, I made my resolve. All right. I'm coming too. But I'm going to take life as minimal as possible. Good. I never killed many humans before, but I wouldn't hesitate to do it. That's a pretty scary thing to say, but I won't pry into it. Then, we're good. I'm ready, she unsheathed her sword. And I do the same. Remember, once we arrive, there's a battlefield. Hinata nodded. As she readied her stance, I began to activate the teleportation. Seal, for this one, let me try to handle the fight by myself. All right, but if you were getting harmed, I wouldn't stand still doing nothing. I didn't have time to respond to that statement, because a ray of light has appeared below our feet. And not even seconds later, we arrived. For a few seconds, I look around and saw the prince as in baffled upon seeing me and Hinata appeared out of nowhere. Some of his knights are also very surprised after our arrival, but the others started to point out their swords to us. I heard the screams from afar, and many people are running in my direction. They are in a very panicky situation since none of the fleeing people pay any attention to us. Well, that's not a problem. Let's get started. I plan to use my power as minimal as possible, but strong enough to pull the enemy back. So I would use my battle will for most. I enhanced my sight with my universal sense and found a mounted knight's enemy within 5 meters. I took a flash step, and swing the back of my sword to that person. The hilt of my sword hit the guy's nose, and then he collapsed. His horse becomes a wild animal and runs forward at full speed. I turned my head and saw more of the mounted knights approaching. Again, I used a flash step and appeared in front of one of them. The knight looks confused at first seeing me appear suddenly, but then without hesitation, he marched forward and swings his sword horizontally towards me, only to be parried by my sword. He got confused since he didn't expect his attack would be deflected easily, but I didn't waste more time and jumped towards him using my instantaneous move and slash his torso. The knight fell and I saw his armor were split. I'm pretty surprised since I thought I didn't use much strength, but I guess that's just how weak these people are. The knight didn't stand up, but he was alive with a wound in his chest. I can't pay too much attention, since his comrades are now charging at me in synchronized lines. Without much thought, I coated my sword with an aura and slashed my sword horizontally into the air. The aura that coated my sword earlier became a projectile with a wide range and immediately went toward those knights. They all fell backward, and the momentum of their fall made them faint, with a serious injury around their chest. But the projectile made from my aura is still flying and hit many more mounted knights behind. Their armor saves them from being cut in half, but there's still a huge slashed wound in their body. The other mounted knights sensed the abnormality happening to me, and they started to get hesitant to charge at me, but that's only happened for seconds. They began to reform their line, with the knight wielding a shield and spear in the center. They lined themselves into 10 rows and immediately charged at me to encircle me. But that's too bad because before they could reach me, I moved with instantaneous movement and appeared on their left. The knight who happened to be on the left of the row was utterly shocked by my sudden appearance, but before he could react, I thrust into his torso and made him fall. But luckily, I didn't hit his vital part. Their row became in dismay. But the 2 knights who wield spears and shields still trying to charge at me. But with the short distance, their thrust won't be powerful enough. Alas, even if they managed to have enough momentum, I wouldn't let it happen. But perhaps this could be a good example. I intentionally stand still and waited for them to come at me. Once they're closed enough, I use a bit of thought acceleration and manage to dodge their spear's thrust and swing vertically toward their spear. I move far enough to distance myself from being hit by their horse, and with my aura that coated my sword, it succeeded to become a projectile that break their spears. Both of them must be surprised after what they saw. From their perspective, I guess they didn't see how I was able to dodge, and suddenly saw their spear got broken. The other knight who saw what was going on become afraid. What is that guy? Impossible, he's out of mind, let's get back. No. Let's hold on. Wait for the others and surround him from all sides. Then another knight came charging at me. I was preparing the next move, but suddenly, that knight was sent flying pretty far before hitting a tree with his back. Hinata did a flying kick toward that knight, and now she's standing beside me. I'll handle the mounted knights, you rescue the people in front. Got it. I didn't have any reason to reject her command, so I ran with tremendous speed and bypassed every mounted knight in front of me. Wah, what's that? No idea. Let's go. Our front line got in trouble. Looks like Hinata managed to draw their attention. Yosh, now my opponents are the people in a black mantle. They seem to have a nasty attitude. Kya. I heard a woman screaming. I had my sight on her spontaneously. Both of her legs were being dragged by 2 men in a black mantle, while 2 children were holding both of her arms each. Mother. Both of the kids are screaming for their mother. Nonetheless, the 2 men kept dragging her around. They show a disgusting face. Ahaha. Hey, stop resisting. We'll let your kids live if you do what we want. Right. You're lucky to have a beautiful face. The other women didn't satisfy us enough. Kuhahaha. All right, this is unbearable. That woman is desperately screaming. And worse, I saw many other guys in the black mantle coming towards them. I won't spare them. I instantly use instantaneous movement, and slash both of them in milliseconds. And I didn't stop there. I continue moving towards the guys who come closer, and before they could realize what happened, a slash wound had appeared on their bodies. They screamed very loud. But worst, the two guys who dragged the women's feet already got themselves cut in half from their heads. There's no way they're still alive. Huh? What's that? Where he came from? Oi, you, stop right there. Hey, somebody shoot him. They screaming each other. But those loud voices are not my main attention. What I saw is a horrible scene of people being killed ruthlessly. I saw a man with multiple stabbed wounds dying helplessly in the middle of the road, lying down inside his own blood puddle. I saw a woman being slashed in her arm, her clothes are tattered and she was still holding on to her children, hugging it tightly, protecting them till the end. I saw multiple children lying down in the street, with a sword being stabbed in their backs. None of them are alive. I saw people, humans, dying everywhere, covered with blood, without any resistance. They cried in pain, alongside a laugh from the men in black mantles. I suddenly imagined the time when my people in Tempest were attacked by Falmuth's vanguard. Is this how they were attacked? Is this the cruelty they faced? Is this the fear they felt? Then, I won't spare anyone. I won't let any attackers live. I'll kill them all. I'll kill you all. I murmured those words, and moved rapidly, swinging my swords toward anyone I identified as an attacker. What does he say? I can't hear it. Arg. What's going arg? Where's he go arg? They all go down one by one, and none of them are alive. Hoy. Shoot it. Once I heard that loud order, I immediately sensed dozens of arrows coming toward me. But none of it matters. I swing my sword horizontally into the air, and the aura I made becomes a projectile that destroys all of the arrows. I turn my gaze to the men who shot me. What's that? He's a beast. Run. Run. Get back. Save your life. I won't let you run away. I jumped into the air and hit the ground with my sword. The ground became shaking, and a ray of lightning appeared and running everywhere, burning those men with black mantle into ash. Some of them still survive. I'm gonna finish it, but then. Master. Please stop, you're going to hurt yourself. I suddenly stopped moving. I saw those attackers trembling in fear, they didn't move an inch. Once I stopped my movement, they instantly fall down and drop their weapons. And then, Rimuru. What are you doing? Hinata came by running behind me. And then she stopped after seeing the corpses, or rather, my victims. Rimuru, at that very moment, I feel a great pain in my chest. I looked at my chest, but I found no injuries, so that's it. It's a pain inside my heart. Seal. Can you do something about it? I see. It's my own problem. It's not even something Seal can do. Now, what face should I make? What attitude I should give to the people around me? I can't show this emotion. I don't know what my faces look like right now, but I'm sure it's unpleasant to look at. But I can't keep standing still like this. I need to look okay. I have to, or otherwise, I'm going to look like a scary monster. I'm not a bad slime. I'm not a bad Rimuru. Before I know it, a pair of hands were hugging me from behind. And I didn't feel any strength to oppose it, Hinata's paw. I always thought Rimuru is hiding something. The way he talks toward his students is always reserved, and although he was pretty much open up to me, he still held some of his thought. I never meant to pry into his circumstances, and I don't have any intention to do so. I believe in the right to privacy. If it is something that Rimuru never wanted to speak of, then just let it be. In that sense, I genuinely respect him. Although he seems to always acting goofy, he's pretty much a calculating figure. I found him sometimes cunning as well, along with brazen ideas that were out of this world's common sense. His love for a comfortable life is unquestionable, but his love for his companions is much more certain. That includes people who are close to him. I never saw Rimuru get sad, even though I ever saw him almost snap by letting his demon lord's aura leak. I don't know if is it because he didn't have anything to be sad for, or he kept it inside for himself. Gradually, I grew to care for him. His naivety is both his weakness and strength. By kept holding to his naive idea, he continued to grow stronger. but with his naivety, he got himself a never-ending problem. I saw him brush those problems alone with a cheerful laugh and an easygoing personality. I don't know where his cheerful energy came from, but I thought it was already part of his personality. So as long as we knew each other, we both accept whoever we are. But I began to wonder if that was his true face since a few days ago. I happened to join him on a picnic with his students. They were also Sensei's students. Those kids are very lively. I may not show it, but I feel happy to see them grow healthy. But they can be too much lively sometimes. For example, the one named Kenya was asking for a spar. I see some ulterior motives inside his behavior. My best guess is he tried to look great in front of someone. But it turns out, the other boys also want to join in, with the three of them asking for a spar. I guess it's a good opportunity to see how Rimuru has educated them. I don't think Rimuru would spoil them, but sometimes he can be too doting toward the kids. And when it's decided to be 1 vs 3, I decided to not go easy on them, and my decision is correct. With their raw power alone, they could be on par with the Rooks. Their technique was somehow still rough on the edge, but they were able to perform it better than a trained Templar. For example, the boy named Kenya is a pretty skillful swordsman. He knows where to hit his sword and he is able to control his strength to make an effective move. Then, there was a boy named Gale. His intuition and leadership are his best weapon. He can analyze the flow of the battle calmly, and he dedicated himself to taking a blow from me whenever it seems to be dangerous to his allies. He took my attention by attacking from middle range and received my attack with his shield. He also commands the other two and plans various tactics. Meanwhile, the boy named Ryota seems to be the one who ambushes me whenever I am busy with the other two and sometimes acts as a distraction when Gale had to recover. His aim is very accurate, and when he imbued the arrow with wind magic, it becomes a missile that always chased me. But unfortunately, one of my unique skills alone is enough to handle their teamwork. With their attack can be predicted, it's easy to avoid every of their attack. Their inexperience was also a decisive factor when I threw them a feint. Their movement becomes a dance on my palm. Their teamwork is commendable, but their opponents are too bad, but I honestly praised them, and acknowledged their abilities. They still have many times to grow. And at some point, I'm sure they would surpass me. And as a reward for their performance, I tell them one of my unique skills. But soon it's spoiled by Rimuru after he deliberately tells them I have 2 unique skills. I got a bit annoyed by him on that day. But it's not because he reveals my ability, but it's because he unintentionally looked down on Sensei. I would never tolerate anyone who looked down on her, but I actually knew he didn't mean it like that. So I wanted to do some retaliation. On that day, I let myself become a selfish person and learn how to tease others. And my first victim was Rimuru. I never knew teasing a person would be fun. I exaggerating a bit about my reason for being irritated by him. I was holding back my grinning lips when I saw his face in deep thought. But that fun ended up pretty quickly after Rimuru made a face I never saw. I don't know what's he thinking, but I can see it's pretty troubling him. I felt a little guilty because it might be because of my teasing. But his face got brightened again after the kids showed their affection toward him. Then I suddenly remember more about Sensei. Because his face resembled Sensei, I came to remember they both have a similarity. Both Sensei and Rimuru never show their weak side, not even to their closest one. Even though I respect anyone's decision to handle their problems privately, seeing Sensei and Rimuru didn't trust me to help them made me irritated. I don't like being a liability and being treated as a helpless kid. That attitude was there within me since I saw my father change. I don't like being helpless while the people I care about were suffering. I'm not afraid to dirty my hands as long as the people I care about can be happy. But I have been failed to do so after the relationship between me and my mother got worsened. I also failed to realize Sensei's circumstances, and simply left her out of my selfishness. Sensei's death made me broken because I knew I didn't have any opportunity to repay or to lend her hand anymore. Even I don't have a chance to see her again. Those regrets had made me picking a fight one-sidedly with a person who took care of Sensei's last wish. I'm again just adding more regret by almost killing him. And then, just when I started to lament about myself, I just suddenly think about Shizue-san more than usual. That sentence coming out from Rimuru was surprising to me. He rarely says anything emotional. He continued to tell his story about the first time he met with Sensei. I took this opportunity to learn more about Sensei. But the more I know about Sensei, the more I regret what I have done. All of this wouldn't happen if I stay by Sensei's side a bit longer. Or perhaps, this is my own punishment after all I've done. Besides, speaking objectively, everyone already got what they want. Sensei can finally rest in peace, the kids are safe, and I have a pretty satisfying life. So for me to continue this sadness would be pointless, since there's nothing I can do about it. Sensei has passed away, and her last wish was already taken care of by Rimuru. But then, what has Rimuru has gained from this? Somehow, his earlier facial expression keeps bugging me. It's such an oversimplification to say he's being sad. What I saw there earlier is much more than that. I'm certain it's not because of my teasing, but I'm sure I had triggered something unpleasant inside his mind. In my logical sense, I have a debt of gratitude towards him. He has fulfilled my sensei's last wish, whom I owed a debt of gratitude as well. He saved Sensei's last students who thought it to be impossible for being saved. And he has forgiven not just me, but the whole of my companion for destroying Tempest's incident. Although I'm not directly involved in the Falmouth invasion, I'm certain he actually has a grudge against me for that incident. I wouldn't blame him if he still resent me. In fact, I would wholeheartedly accept any kind of his wrath. Even on the surface he gave us forgiveness and wanted to end the hostility. I doubt he get through it without any wound in his heart. For a long time after the incident, I simply thought that he was trying to be okay with it, and he didn't want anyone to interfere with his own problems. And I respect that, and accept his way to continuing life without any resentment. But that face earlier is still bugging me and triggers my memories of Sensei. His appearance, which resembled Sensei, only made me feel more in pain since I always saw that kind of face on Sensei's face. Right, that kind of face that hides the real pain. But what is the scar in Rimuru's heart? What is he hiding? And after thinking for a while, I suddenly realize, when he tells the story of his first meeting with Sensei, he never mentions anything about his feeling at any point. He didn't deny or admit about Sensei being his destined one. He didn't tell how he felt when he saw Sensei's death. He didn't tell why he granted Sensei's last wish, and most of all, he didn't tell what is his feeling towards Sensei. Is there any wound about it? If it's true, is that the reason why he's still reserved when interacting with the kids and me? Is there something he didn't want to tell anyone about him and Sensei? I keep wondering about this thought, but I found it to be inappropriate to ponder about this with Rimuru. But then, Rimuru said something baffling. I'm sure Shizue-san's life would be happier than she was here. Does he mean Sensei's alive somewhere? I kept asking him to look at his reaction. Even I used some intimidation a bit on him. Then the kids got joined in the fray. But perhaps because of that, all his responses become goofy and playful again. He acted normal. And for a moment, I thought I was just overthinking things before. I guess that's just how Rimuru is. But after Ryota asked him why he's not gonna search for Sensei, he answered. Because I don't want to disturb her new life, and for a glimpse, I saw that face again. He's talking about Sensei's new life as if he has made an unforgivable mistake to Sensei when she's still alive in this world. In my objective point of view, he has done nothing wrong to Sensei. On the contrary, he has done more than enough for her. But I know it may be not the case for Rimuru. And my hunch, who I rarely rely on, somehow tell me to persuade Rimuru to chase Sensei's soul. I don't have any possibility, let alone a definite conclusion about what's inside Rimuru's mind about Sensei. But I have a feeling that it must be not a simple one. In the worst case, it's probably more than just one scar. So I kept making reasons to make Rimuru chase after Sensei's soul. But even so, the ones who made his resolve are probably the kids. I merely only made him agree to check Sensei's soul and not chase for it. In that case, someone needs to keep his resolve. I knew Rimuru would never betray his own words, but it's still possible he would feel down when he meets unexpected events. Somehow, I feel the urge to support him. I feel eager to go with him. I don't know whether it's because of my debt of gratitude or my regret towards Sensei who made me feel this way, but I wholeheartedly accept it. I accept my own feelings for wanting to walk beside him. And for my further luck, turns out I was capable to accompany him to the other world where Sensei's soul was located. And so, with a surprisingly joyous feeling, I came to another world with him. But sadly, that transferring process to another world quite taking a toll on me. My body feels incredibly exhausted, and I sense no magicules around me. so it's not making me able to fix my sight with magic sense. Activating a skill turns out to consume a quite amount of energy for me in this world. I was starting to worry I would hinder Rimuru's journey at this point. But luckily, Rimuru is offering to take a break. I deliberately accept and chose an easy workload to collect firewood. I suspect none of us bring a tent, but I believe Rimuru would do something about it. And turns out, what he did was pretty outrageous. He just casually took a 2-story wooden house out of nowhere. He even absorbed several trees and made an empty land. I sighed but can't complain, because I can't deny it would be more comfortable than a casual tent. So for now, I take his hospitality. He even offered to make a dinner. I honestly feel bad for him because I probably become a burden, but he didn't seem to think about it that way. And as bad as it seems, in my condition right now, I can't do anything but accept his offer again. I was choosing a room on the 2nd floor. It's just a reflection of my memory of when I stayed with Sensei and Yuki. Because I used to be living in a 2-story house as well with both of them. I'm already a saint, but I can still sleep like a normal human. Even in some cases, sleep would still help me recover better. So after taking away my armor, I took sleep very soundly. I can't remember anything, but I knew I had a pretty good sleep. I was recovering quite better when Rimuru calls me to have dinner. At first, I teased him again a bit about me being a saint who doesn't need to eat, but I immediately brushed it off after I saw what he make. Miso soup. A dish that Sensei used to make. It's very nostalgic and brings out happy memories with her. And somehow, eating together with Rimuru was giving me a sense of warm and comfortable feeling. I suspect most of it must be because of his appearance resembling Sensei a lot. So it feels like I have dinner together again with Sensei. Mine had a bit salty, he said, commenting about his miso soup. In my honest opinion, even sometimes Sensei had terrible taste of food, so I don't even mind his error in taste. I simply enjoying this moment. While we eat our dinner, I try to feed my curiosity about him by asking about his life before he got reincarnated. And after I hear about him dying to protect someone's life, my respect for him increased. But I honestly think it would be more strange if he died in natural ways. For him dying for the sake of others, he's not changed for who he is in our cardinal world. So we continue our talks, and for these rare circumstances, I tell him some part of my personal story as well. I have no specific reason to tell him so, but I find it comfortable to tell him. And perhaps, I could use it to encourage him more in this journey. So, I exaggerate some parts of my story to seek more of his reactions. But even so, I'm still not used to opening up too much, even to Sensei. And for my luck, Rimuru started to avert the conversation into a discussion about our future plans. Rimuru might be worried about the incomplete reincarnation of Sensei, but I still have a hunch it would help Rimuru to become happier. Our discussion went on without any problem. Rimuru now seems eager to do anything he could. He even going to make sellable items to procure some money. I feel a bit relieved seeing him being this eager since I was the one who provoked him to do this journey. I can't explain to myself exactly why I want him to chase Sensei's soul. And since he said he's going to do everything by himself, it's a good opportunity for me to take another rest. I was pretty happy to be able to take my time to have another sleep. I promised myself, tomorrow I'll do better to help him. And so on, the night has been spent. In the early morning, I have my body in nearly good shape. I still got a little pain in some parts of my body, but not to the point I couldn't use it. So I walked down the stairs and found a set of tunics with other clothing. One of the tunics is colored white with a long sleeve. I thought that would be mine. I was going to ask Rimuru about this, but surprisingly, I found him asleep in a nearby room. I never knew Rimuru still needs sleep. Or perhaps, he also needs a rest after performing that teleportation between two worlds. And for that, I chose to not disturb him. I waited there while examining the other creation by him. A few dozen minutes later, he came with a refreshing look. He greeted me and explained about the tunic and food he made. He chose the blue tunic, and leave the white one for me. After that, it's my turn to change. After changing our clothes, I carry the bag of food. I felt responsible, so that's why I took anything I could do for. We began our journey to the market that Rimuru mentioned. I don't know from where he knew such a thing, but I guess it's fair since it's part of his power. Along the way, there's a problem arose with a group of knights who seems to rob us. I was preparing myself to finish them by force, but Rimuru handled it better. Unfortunately, with my body still recovering, I still cannot properly activate my skill due to the energy I have still in trouble. So I didn't use my magic sense, and couldn't understand what these people said. And again, I have some trouble with my sight since my eyes were myopia. I chose to let Rimuru take charge of everything. I don't want to decide his way, so I choose to support whatever he decides. So I keep myself from joining up with an unknown conversation and only talks when Rimuru asked me. At some point, I learned about this place, or rather this kingdom's situation. I hear the story from Rimuru, but I can see the gestures from the night when they tell the story to him. And from the story, the individual named Constance turns out pretty interesting. I really can't be sure, but if he has such a personality, I wouldn't be surprised that he's the one who has a part of Sensei's soul. I told him such a thing, and again, I got surprised to see his face. He shows a discomfort expression, or rather, a disappointed one. He looks down and he seems to be in a deep thought. And this time, he didn't immediately back to composure. Is this, perhaps he expecting Sensei to be a female again? If so, then why? I don't know many things about souls, but based on how they reacted after the death of the individual, it's no wonder to inhabit a random person out there. Is there perhaps some other naivety inside Rimuru's mind about this journey? I can't keep asking around myself. To confirm it, I better ask him directly. Are you disappointed Sensei didn't reincarnate into a female again? No. That's not it. It's, then a brief silence. What is this? Why is he acting this way? Or don't tell me, the actual reason is, I see. I think I know the gist of it. I won't be too much certain about it, but that's the most possible answer I have right now. If I was right, then it would be the answer to my other questions as well. But it seems Rimuru himself didn't aware of it, so it's still premature to make it a final conclusion. So for now, I think the best way to continue the search was at a slow pace. On that note, I heard Rimuru murmuring the sentence, I don't know. Strangely, I felt a bit happy and tried to comfort him by saying I would find it troubling as well if Sensei was reincarnated as a male. He seems to be quite amused by my response, and by adding his other thought, he seems to come back to his normal self. But now, I can predict a little bit of his attitude in particular circumstances. We continue the journey with high-spirited knights who coming along. Some of them tried to talk to me, but I cannot understand what they say, so I kept quiet. Rimuru has also tried to attract anyone who tried to talk to me. He seems to want me to feel unbothered by them. But whatever the reason, I'm pretty happy to see he can distract himself from his earlier troubling thoughts. And so, even for me, the journey felt quick. A big fortified city is standing in front of us. I heard from Rimuru that this city is named Cardinalis. Previously our intention here was to sell the food that has been made by Rimuru. But as things went on, we were going to take those knights' hospitality. Long story short, we were given pretty much supplies from them. We have food, water, money, and a tent. After that, Rimuru has been explaining about his solution to my inability to activate magic sense. I agreed with his solution in the end. Although I find it pretty difficult to accept more of his generosity by using his own magicule reserve. But I tried to brush it off by joking about being too much relying on him was annoying, and with my joke, it seems he kept getting back to his normal self. Later after, we went to a place known as a tavern. In my opinion, it's a pretty much uncomfortable place since the unhygienic environment. But this place looks like a perfect place to gather information. Our main objective in this city is to gather information about this world. At least, that's what's Rimuru's thinking. Meanwhile, I was thinking about more specific situations. While Rimuru had talked to the young waitress, I enhanced my senses with the magic sense. I'm looking for a potential informant. With my thought acceleration, I scanned through the room and found many kinds of people being gathered. I also tried to listen to every interesting matter. But there seems not much information I could gather by eavesdropping alone. And then, I found a fine-looking man with neat attire. He looks pretty well educated. I was preferring someone educated rather than someone who takes on every piece of information circulating around. I turned my head towards him, and somehow, he also happened to looking at me. I made a gesture with my head to ask him to come over. I see him nod, so I waited for him to come by. I'm planning to give you a discount since this is your ever first tavern. Are you sure you won't order any of our wine? Thank you for your offer, but you see, we need to save some of our money for our journey. I heard an exchange of talks between Rimuru and the young waitress. It seems that there was an unfortunate deal. So I give a hand to him. I ask how much the discount is, and manage to exchange a bargain. My teasing skill was somehow increased, and I find it a fun way to treat people. And by doing that, I managed to obtain some market value of the commodity around this city. I tacitly observed the men whom I was asking to come by. He readily moves to our table, but I suddenly notice another man coming closer, and this man doesn't look to have good intentions. I tried to patiently wait, but as it turns out, both of them are coming at the same time, and unsurprisingly, both of them had quarreled. The fight ensues into a fist fight. I honestly felt bad for him. I wanted to help him, but the other guys around are blocking me. At least they also tried to separate them. But then, a tall young man appeared. He beat both of them pretty badly, and I sensed another guy behind him. And I was right, he's a sweet-looking old man with his hair already become white-colored. He have a long beard on his chin but didn't have any mustache. He often closed his eyes. After dealing with the two earlier guys, they came toward our table. The old man asked to share our table politely, and I find it amusing, so I let him and the young man have a seat at our table. They introduced themselves as Gray and Eric. Gray-san seems to be a lively person, while Eric seems to be a bit shy and awkward even though his physique was rather dominating. Rimuru has taken a liking to both of them, especially Gray-san, who immediately befriended him. Gray-san seems to be an observant person as well, because he can see the real gender of Rimuru. I find it amusing as well when he admits he's actually a male. The reaction from other customers was succeed to make me struggle a bit to hold my laugh. But the conversation went on very lively. Rimuru and the two others seems to be joking around about smoking. I personally dislike smoking since it's a sign of delinquents, but it's a different case for now. Gray-san also pondered about our money since we were able to buy a bottle of wine, and from that part, I gather a lot of important information from Gray-san. I genuinely respect Gray-san for his knowledge. After I know more about this kingdom's situation, I concluded that the prince was already in a dire situation. The only way to win this war is through a major victory, since prolonging a war would cause a collapse on Prince Constance's side. I made my comment about the current situation, and because of that, I became to know Eric seems to want to join the ranks of the knight. I have no commentary on his decision. As a human, we ought to make a lot of decisions in our life. Some might be regretted, and some might be grateful. But it seems the other two had more to think about it. Gray-san seems to be looking pretty sad but hides it with a small laugh and says Eric would be a proud knight. I have not understood how it feels, but I know it's pretty hard to let your family do what they want. I see. I guess that is what Sensei felt when I said I'll be gone to join the Crusaders. Behind her smile in our farewell, she must be felt sad for being left by me. I unconsciously took a glance at Rimuru, and again, Rimuru showed a face that I normally didn't see. He's in deep thought. I keep wondering what he might think about Eric, who's going to join the army. And at that time, I can't comprehend about what's the connection between Eric's departure and himself, who didn't have any relationship. Or, is it actually Sensei's memory that has taken his mind? Is he saw that memory too? Is the memory of Sensei when I left her, appear through this conversation? Is that the actual face of Sensei when I left her? Johan-kun. Gray-san is calling him. Rimuru becomes flustered and acts awkwardly. But even though he acted that way, I sense what he's saying is the truth. It seems he's accusing himself of being immature. But then, you have experienced losing a person you love, and not just once, but twice, right? The face that Rimuru's making is like someone who's been stabbed. The face of someone who's being hit in their core. It's an oversimplification to say he's shocked. Even if it's for a very brief moment, he showed not only what's inside his mind, but what's inside his heart. So it's not a memory of Sensei about me leaving her, but he hides his grief over Sensei's death. He didn't deny Gray-san words, so he really feel that way towards Sensei. And so, I feel very sorry for him. Losing someone whom you loved unconsciously, and accused of being her murderer. He tried to find any reason to not open his scar by saying Sensei's soul might inhabiting a person in a good life. But I guess, what he actually felt was he was afraid to see her again. Then, this journey has become a mistake. Rimuru shouldn't meet Sensei, or whoever she is now. It will only make him overthink his mind. An unknown feeling is a great threat since you wouldn't be able to find the solution. And I'm certain, Rimuru is not aware of his feeling towards Sensei. He took a glance at me. He looks like he's trying his best to hide his feeling. I have to get him out of this situation. I'm sorry, Grace-san. But what you said is true. You've crossed some line. My brother has been through a lot. So I humbly ask you to not pursue the matter. I asked Grace-san to not ponder about Rimuru's circumstances. Even though I actually haven't known much about it, I think it's a good thing to not ponder about it now. And fortunately, Grace-san is a good man to know his position. After Grace-san apologizes, Rimuru seems eager to change the atmosphere, and not just that, as much as I couldn't believe it, but I saw Rimuru's expression has got brightened. It seems he's been successful at something, or at least, found a way to succeed. The happiness which shone in his face made me suddenly rethink again about what I thought to be a mistake. Is this journey something Rimuru needs? Even though it will pain him, will it actually make him become better? Will it at some point, he'll never have that sad face anymore? If that's so, for my own benefit as well, will it be counted as I repay my debt of gratitude toward him? But what if the continuation of this journey turns out to be more painful? But all those thoughts are starting to disappear upon seeing how happy Rimuru having drinks with our new acquaintances. Perhaps, in some way, just accompanying him on this journey is enough to make the journey fruitful. After drinking our wine together, I noticed the story from Grace-san about this kingdom's civil war has affected our views on this world. I'm from another world, but I still consider myself as part of the guardian of humanity. Even though we basically just stumbled upon this area which undergoes conflict, any kind of bad action against humanity is a violation. Rimuru seems wanted to help, but he worries about the effect on us, and for that, I cannot deny it. Since it's mostly true. But I know Rimuru doesn't want to regret anything. I wonder if this truly going to be okay for him. We both agreed to return the provisions that have given by the knights. I don't need it as well, but I understand we cannot just reject anyone's kindness. When Rimuru returns the food to the knight's base, or rather, infiltrates, I waited for him outside. But thanks to the magicules he's sharing, I can hear better to the surrounding, and by that, I knew that Rimuru has eavesdropping the knights before. But unfortunately, I didn't understand their circumstances. While in the other hand, Rimuru seems to have a better idea about what they have talked about. Because Rimuru has taken plenty of time observing them. But even without knowing their circumstances, I can hear the solidarity between them. In that sense, I try to guess what is Rimuru's feeling about it. He's more kind than me, so I knew he was more eager to help rather than me. But at the same time, there's probably more Rimuru to know than me about the whole world. I'm not very sure about it as well, but Rimuru seems to have a concern about the effect of meddling in this world affair. Even if we only meddling in one kingdom, perhaps he has already foreseen a bigger conflict that could arise because of it. Rimuru has become a king, so it's no wonder if he understands more about politics than I do. But as I have seen before, Rimuru has made some kind of resolve. My best possible guess is Rimuru trying to heal the wounds he has. Whether it may be about Sensei, or it's possible there's something else that still bothers him. And I would feel bad if he didn't get what he need. May mighty God Veldonava is in our favor. I heard the head knight offering a prayer. And I sensed that Rimuru had shocked. For me, Veldonava is just a mighty creature who creates this world's system. He has long gone, and never involved in this universe's matter. All of the world's matter has been done by his own creature. That's why, I didn't really put anything to mind when I heard Veldonava, but it seems, for Rimuru, it's an important matter. Or perhaps, Veldonava itself has become someone important to him. Luminos-sama herself never talked much about Veldonava, so I never knew her personal opinion. But I have never been told about her origin. Something about divine ancestor, named Twilight. I also happen ever read a little about it in the Ingrasha library, but since I didn't find it important, I never take it seriously. Just when Rimuru managed to come back, we talked about it a bit. He seems to be thinking about it more seriously, and it made me a bit guilty for not learning more about this matter. But maybe, that's a good opportunity. I don't know how important Veldonava is for Rimuru, but if this world worshipped him, he might find something useful. And all I can say is this world might be somehow connected to our cardinal world. In that sense, I also find myself having a bit sense of attachment to this world. If Luminos-sama found this world, I think she would find it amusing to develop a new land here. Rimuru has spouted his mind about didn't want to meddle too much in this world. Which, I already know. And moreover, I think I know the important basis of that idea as well. But I think he has to deal with it, to continue pursuing Sensei's soul, to make the resolve I saw earlier to be achieved. At this time, I tried to not overthink it and decided that Rimuru's scar in his heart must be about Sensei. But it turns out, it's a grave mistake. After I talked about our plan to teleport, many things happen. And my suspicion about Prince Constance as the one who has Sensei's soul turns out to be true. I don't know how he did it, but I can see footage inside my mind of a lot of carriages having a convoy toward our location. And that footage became a nightmare as I saw cruelty happen to the people. For me, abandoning my ideals is an extreme doing. So seeing the civilians being slaughtered with such brutality is enough to make me decide to meddle in this world. Rimuru seems to be more horrified than me, but I see some hesitation inside him, or rather, a scared expression. But after he put more thought into it, he resolves himself. And thus, we both agreed to join the fray. Remember, once we arrive, there's a battlefield, he said, and I nodded. I knew that much, so I prepare myself. Then, suddenly a circle of light appeared underneath our foot, and before I knew it, we've already in another place. The surrounding area is in chaos. People are running to my back, screaming is everywhere, and horses are running uncontrollably. Many carriages have been left behind. The first thing I do is to check my surrounding area. I looked around to find any possible enemies, identified civilians, and found allies. I saw in my back there were about 6 knights standing. 4 of them are holding someone in noble attire, and they look shocked after seeing me, and Rimuru had appeared out of nowhere. I recognize the one in noble attire. He's the Prince Constance. Meanwhile, the other 2 has immediately pointing their sword toward me. As I saw Rimuru on my side, he was immediately gone and attacking the mounted knight. I cannot be left behind him. So I turned my head, gazing at the prince. Leave it to us. And then I went forward like Rimuru. Rimuru seems to engage the enemies, while the civilian is still in panic. Some of them are falling, and many of them are injured. I decided the priority are saving the civilians first. And so, while Rimuru distracts the mounted knights, I gather the remaining guards and help the civilians who run away. They're all in panic, so after seeing me who's still in composure, not just civilians, but even the guards are following my directions. I also put some healing magic on the guards and civilians who had serious injuries. As I expected, every one of them are shocked. Wah, what is this? How can it be? My wounds. What are you? But I rebuked them immediately by saying, just shut it and take it. In this dangerous situation, you have to accept any kind of help to survive. No matter how hard it is to accept it, as long it makes you survive, and you have to move fast since the enemy won't let you take time to run away. Not long after, I saw no more civilians running to my direction, so I gave a command to the guards who were still nearby. Hold your line, I'll go forward. They seem to be wanting to join me, but none of them are following me in the end. As I ran toward Rimuru, I noticed in far away there was a group of black-mantled men, committing cruelty against people. But as much as I wanted to save them, I don't think I would be fast enough to reach them. So the idea which popped into my mind was taking over Rimuru's role to take care of the mounted knights and let Rimuru take care of the enemy in far away since he's much faster than me. Rimuru seems to be feared by those knights, but those knights are still trying to engage him. At this point, he'll only be wasting time. So when I saw one of the mounted knights charging at him, I jumped forward and dropped a flying kick towards him. The knight got blown away until he hit a tree. I stand beside him. He looks in very good condition. I'll handle the mounted knights, you rescue the people in front. Got it. Then, he ran forward with inhuman speed. What the hell? What is going on? Oi, there's another one here, finish her. They began to charge at me. But they seem to be foolish since I can do the same as Rimuru. I dodged their charge and appeared in their blind spots. Their horses are starting to panic and run amok around, causing chaos on their own. The knights fell to the ground, and they started to collide with each other. I quickly ran towards the remaining knights, including the knights who fell, and disarmed them. Mostly I hit their armor with the bare minimum strength, and make them groan in pain or fainting. Everything seems to be okay and we slowly gaining more foothold. But then, the remaining enemies are screaming in agony. The mounted knights all fell unconscious, and the remaining civilian who near me were also fainted. The horses are running wilder, fleeing from the road. I felt a dense aura. A demon lord's aura. No, it's rather more powerful than that. It's a true dragon aura. I was confused. I'm very certain it's a true dragon aura. But there's no possible way there's a true dragon here, and furthermore, at the same time wasn't deadly enough to kill people. If it's coming from a true dragon, there should be more casualties. I don't know who's appeared, but I have a very bad premonition. And then, the ground is shaking. A ray of black lightning appeared far away from my position, but it was very huge so it can be seen from many kilometers away. And that black lightning, I knew who was able to cast such deadly magic. That Rimuru, what has he done? I ran as fast as I could. And then, after a few kilometers ahead, I saw dozens of black-mantled men lying on the ground in horrible conditions. There's a corpse that has been cut in half, arms cut, decapitated, and burnt to ashes. Then the aura is disappearing. I follow the remaining aura, and ran towards it. It took me another several hundred meters. But there, I found Rimuru standing in silence. He didn't move, but some of his aura is still leaking. Rimuru. What are you doing? I was very upset about what he has done. The damage is worse than anyone in this world could imagine. Trees are on fire, the grounds are cracking everywhere. The road also become damaged and has covered with black ashes, and people far away are trembling in fear. I was going to reprimand him for how reckless he has done, but then, I notice his silence. He stood there, in the center of the cracks in the ground, without saying any words. His long hair has covering his face. The lights from the fire around us illuminate the scene, but his face is simply dark from the cover of his hair. His shoulders are lumped, and he didn't look anywhere. His head is looking down. And at that moment, I came to know. I know the rage he can do. I know there's a painful wound inside him. And I knew, deep inside of him right now, he was crying. At that moment, I became certain that Rimuru was hiding more than just one painful wound. The rage that he showed towards those men in black was out of his personality, I knew. Blood spilled easily around with his hand, and a serious killing intent came from his eyes. It's all brand new to me. Rimuru, I tried to reach out to him, but he didn't even budge. The sight was scary, but for me, it was painful. The always smiled Rimuru, who brushes his problems off with goofiness, had cried in silence in front of me. Then, out of nowhere, I saw Sensei inside him. I saw Sensei is really crying in Rimuru's place. It can't be. I felt a sudden pain inside my chest. It's more painful than I ever feel. I feel helpless. I feel a pierce inside me. Sensei. I tried desperately to reach out to her. I dragged my feet towards her. The closer I get, the heavier it goes. I reached out to her with both of my hands. But then, she disappeared. Leaving me with Rimuru. But before I know it, my hands have reached Rimuru. I can feel him. I can feel his cold skin in my hand. Rimuru, and before I realized it, I hugged him.